Hey everybody, it's time to talk about the books that came out in August. So many amazing titles. You know I'm doing these videos after the month they came out, so you can get your hands on every single one of these. So we better get started. It's going to be a fantastic list. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing very, very well. Of course, I hope that you guys are safe and healthy. It has been a crazy week here in the gray black household. That's my last name and my husband's last name. Our nephews are here to visit for a couple weeks, so our life has been full of all sorts of things non-book related, from movies to coloring to games to practicing our alphabet to counting to 10 to talking about the start of the United States of America. We have been doing it all, but I haven't had much chance to read, and I certainly have not had much chance to do a video. But I am here today because it is time to talk about some of the amazing titles that came out in August. I want to thank the publishers that are sending me books. Now I'm getting a lot of the books now after they come out. So they're coming out, I'm getting them towards the end of the month. So I'm reading a little bit different than I used to. I used to try to read in advance, but now I'm sort of reading on the tail end. So that means that I have a lot of books here to tell you about, and I want to say thank you so much to the publishers. So get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads. However you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able to order a book or two or three or four from your local independent bookstore, please do so. And if you are a library user, have your library get you a copy of these as soon as possible. So we're going to start with a book that I have already reviewed and absolutely loved. And I don't know why the finished copy is on the shelf behind me, but I'm going to show you guys the advanced reader's copy, and that is Luster by Leilani, and this is out from FSG. I read this probably early last month or maybe even a little bit before that, and I found it to be fantastic. This is the story of Edie. Edie works sort of a mid-level job at a publishing company, and she has sort of this reputation of being very open and free with her sexuality. However, as the book goes on, we start to learn that she has some issues with intimacy and creating actual long-term relationships. The crux of this novel is a relationship she starts with a married man who is in a open marriage, and sort of the dynamics that that relationship take and how they form Edie into the woman she's going to be after this relationship sort of runs its course. It turns out she winds up going to his house, developing a relationship not only with his wife, but their adopted daughter as well. And it becomes this very triangulated emotional mess, for lack of a better word. But Edie always stays so true to who she is, who she perceives herself to be within all of these situations. She's never apologetic because she just knows who she is. And I really loved her as a character, flaws and all. I just think there's something to be said about the fact that people are messy, and there's things about us that we try to hide, we try to work around, but Edie as a character is very aware of sort of her own self-perception and how that goes out into the world. I hope I did a good job of explaining this to you. But this book is got a lot of like just ownership of her own sexuality, ownership of everything about her, which I really appreciated. So that is Luster by Leilani, out now from FSG. And this was just longlisted for an award. I can't remember which one. So congratulations, Raven. I have a feeling we will be seeing that book around in some awards lists coming forward. Let's take a switch and go to fantasy, and let's talk about The Vanished Queen by Lisbeth Campbell. This is out from Saga Press. This is, I hope it's a start. I don't know if it's the start of a trilogy, to be honest with you, but I absolutely love this. This is for you. If you are a fantasy reader that is more sort of into the political intrigue of a medieval kingdom, there's a little bit of magic, there's a little bit of that sort of stuff to it, but this is really about a revolution that's trying to take place against a despot king. He is horrible. Everyone's scared and terrified of him. He does awful things. And it includes not only our main character, who is a young woman who's sort of part of the revolution, but the sons of the king, the two princes, and also the vanished queen, who is a woman who was married to the king and one day just disappeared, and sort of the spirit of her and how she sort of inspires a lot of what's going on. And yeah, this is a page turner of a political thriller, all set in this medieval fantasy realm. The characters are well-rounded. Everything about it was fun. The pages just flew by. I highly recommend it. So that's The Vanished Queen by Lisbeth Campbell, out from Saga Press. And I will say, Lisbeth actually lives, I believe, near me, so I hope someday that I can actually meet her and talk to her about her book. I've already actually talked about the next book in my historical fiction recommendation category, and that is Cher and Major Whittlesey by Kathleen Rooney. I'm a huge Kathleen Rooney fan. You guys know that I loved Lillian Boxfist Takes a Walk. And this is her World War II story told from two different perspectives. One from the perspective of a carrier pigeon that was vital within World War II in carrying messages, and also from the perspective of a major and how their worlds come together in a battle in a forest in France and how it changes their lives forever. So that's Cher and Major Whittlesey, out from Penguin House. This was my pre-order because I will read everything that Kathleen Rooney puts out from now on. I'm a huge fan. Okay. Next is the novel Ordinary Hazards by Anna Bruno. This is out now from Atria Books. Atria treats me so well, so thank you very, very much, Atria. This is the story of a woman who is newly divorced. I believe it's like 9 months that she's been divorced. And she goes to sort of her local favorite bar one night. It's like after 5, she's there for happy hour, and she starts talking to these different people sort of about her relationship, her ex. And as she starts to do that, things start to come into place. Like she starts to figure out stuff about her own life that she may not have been aware of until these conversations took place. And as that keeps going, she starts to have self-realizations as well. So this is going to be one of those books where your character is sort of in one stationary spot, but the sort of driving narrative force is the discovery in conversation she has about herself, which you guys know I absolutely love stuff like that. So that's Ordinary Hazards by Anna Bruno, and this is out from Atria Books as we speak. Okay. I just talked about this book. I feel like I talk about Morgan Jerkins a lot because I have, one, a personal obsession with how brilliant she is, and two, her essay collection, This Will Be My Undoing, is probably one of my favorite essay collections I've ever read. But what has she done now? She has published this nonfiction book, Wandering in Strange Lands, A Daughter of the Great Migration Reclaims Her Roots, by Morgan Jerkins, and this is out from Harper Books right now. So what Morgan does here is, Morgan is a part of the generation that was affected by the Great Migration, where thousands and thousands of Black Americans moved from the South up to the North into the West. And what she does is she retraces her family going backwards, going back from where they settled back to where they came from, and sort of looks and delves into those roots and how it has formed her as a person. I'm into this one. This will be in a read and reviewed, or a review video pretty soon. So that's Wandering in Strange Lands, A Daughter of the Great Migration Reclaims Her Roots by Morgan Jerkins. She's one of those nonfiction writers to me that just has such a readable voice. It's kind of like you're just talking to her. And to me, I find that extremely welcoming when I'm reading a person's story, especially a nonfiction story. Okay, oh gosh, I feel like I have hyped some of these books up. I am currently in the process of reading Bronte's Mistress by Finola Austin, out again from Atria Books. This is the story of an affair that actually occurred between Bramwell Bronte and his employer, let me get her name, Lydia Robinson. And it's sort of one of those things that is sort of tainted and been the gossip of Bronte lore for a very long time. And this is sort of a reimagining of that relationship and how it came to sort of affect the Brontes. And also, I think, more importantly, it's told from the perspective of Lydia, giving her a voice that she's more than just a footnote in the Bronte history. I love books like this. I love books that take a place in, I love a good Victorian scandal. Love it. So that's Bronte's Mistress by Finola Austin, out now from Atria Books. Okay. Gosh, this stack's gotten going. The next book is The Death of Vivian Oge by Akwaeke, Emezi, and I always stumble on their first name. I am so sorry. And this is out now from Riverhead Books. I love their style so much. I just follow them on Instagram and Facebook so that I can follow their style. I think they're fantastic. But here's what this book is about. So it says, one afternoon in a town in southeastern Nigeria, a mother opens her front door to discover her son's body wrapped in colorful fabric at her feet. What follows is the tumultuous, heart-wrenching story of one family's struggle to understand a child whose spirit is both gentle and mysterious. Raised by a distant father and a compassionate but overprotective mother, Vivian Oge suffers disorienting blackouts, moments of disconnection between self and surroundings. And as adolescence leads to adulthood, Vivek finds solace in friendships with the warm, boisterous daughters of the Niger wives, foreign-born women married to Nigerian men. But Vivek's closest bond is to Osita, the worldly, high-spirited cousin whose teasing confidence masks a guarded, private life. As their relationship deepens and Osita struggles to understand Vivek's escalating crisis, the mystery gives way to a heart-stopping act of violence and a moment of exhilarating freedom. Now, everyone I know who has read this book has loved it, so I am very excited to get to The Death of Vivian Oge, and I'm going to hold their name up there for you because I always mispronounce the first name. Emezi. I actually have read everything by them, and I have loved everything by them, so I can't imagine that's not going to happen here. Okay, this is a chunkster of a book that, as you can see, I am currently in just started. And that's The Great Offshore Grounds by Vanessa Veselka. I've been told in Ukrainian that her last name means rainbow. That's what someone told me online. I'm taking their word for it. I didn't look it up in Ukrainian. I've just started, so I'm going to summarize it by what I know. So this is the story of two sisters who have been sort of distanced, and they're back together because one of the sisters has just divorced her husband, down on life. She moves in with her other sister, and they've been invited to the wedding of their father, who they have not seen since they were 14. They go there not really knowing why they're going there, and they bring along their half-brother. He's really this guy that one of them met at one time and sort of the family adopted. There's this whole sense of sort of like 1970s commune living. The father is marrying a young woman, and he and their mother also comes along to the wedding. The drama of it all, right? And when you find out very early on that the father wants to tell the daughters something and take them into private to tell them, they don't know what that means. They don't know what the thing is, and they don't really know that it's about to happen until it does. It turns out that both girls were actually not born from the same mother. The father lived in sort of a polygamous type relationship, and he impregnated two women, and one of the women did not want to have a child. So the other woman took the baby in. And she has said to her daughter she is never going to tell them the woman's name because she didn't want to be a mother, and she doesn't want them going to find them. The dad gives them that name, and an adventure starts to search for who they are. They don't even know which one of them belongs to which mother. I am devouring it. It's one of those books with such great wording, though, that it's not something you read quickly. It is excellent so far. And that's The Great Offshore Grounds by Vanessa Veselka. And this is out now from Knopf. And I am absolutely loving it. It's really, really good. Okay, one stack down. Let's hope some books don't fall over on me. Okay, we're going to go into some more stuff. Science fiction? You guys in the mood for some science fiction? Architects of Memory by Karen Osborne, out from Tor. This is the story of a terminally ill salvage pilot in space who just decided that she's going to do something, find a way in order to infiltrate somewhere. What is it she says? She wants to infiltrate corporate Her plan to buy, beg, or lie her way out of corporate indentured to find a cure. Now she's going to do whatever, and she winds up finding this genocidal weapon, and it turns into this big, space opera sort of adventure tale. Yeah. I think that sounds really, really good. I need to sit down with it though, because with me in sci-fi, I need to give it 100% of my attention. So that's Architects of Memory by Karen Osborne, out now from Tor Books. Okay. A book that I have read and absolutely loved is Hysteria by Jessica Gross. Now and this is out from Unnamed Press. You can get your hands on it as we speak. I will say, if you are a fan of Luster by Raven, Leilani, you will probably very much like Hysteria by Jessica Gross. The women are in the same sort of vein of these women who are very owned by their own sense of self. Our main character is a very sexual woman. She is very engaging. She takes advantage of it. But again, also sort of stands back from the actual relationships. She goes to her favorite bar and meets a new bartender that's there. She tries to do the whole seduction thing, but then it turns out that she winds up thinking that he is actually an incarnation of Sigmund Freud. And both of her parents are psychoanalysts. So you can imagine how that all comes together. And we get inside the mind of this woman as she is sort of creating her own sort of therapy session, but making choices that at times are just frustrating but real. This book has a sense of reality too. It's like I feel like I know these people, and the messiness that is their lives rings really true to me. So that's Hysteria by Jessica Gross. This is out now from Unnamed Press. Really enjoyed that book. Really, really enjoyed that book. I don't know a ton about this one. I'm going to hold it up there because there is no way I'm going to try to say this last name. This is Unwitting Street, and this is by Sigmund, and let's just hold his name up right there for you. Translated by Joanne Turnbull. This says, when Command Punt does not wake up on Moscow morning, he has died, but his pants dash off to work without him. The ambitious pants soon have their own office and secretary. So begins the first of 18 superb examples of Sigmund's philosophical and phantasmagorical stories. So this is a collection of Russian short stories. Unwitting Street, I'm going to hold Sigmund's name up there, translated from the Russian by Joanne Turnbull, out now from New York Review of Books. They just also sent me a book, which I'll talk about in another video, that has the most beautiful cover, and I am so excited to read. Out from Counterpoint Press is the fantastic The Disaster Tourist by Ko-Eun, translated from the Korean by Lizzie Bueller. This is the story of a woman who works for a travel agency that sends you to locations that have been destroyed by natural disasters, and she was the star of this place, and then something happens and she sort of goes off track, so they decide to send her to a new location that they're trying to decide if they're going to start sending people to. And as you can imagine, things occur, and she learns stuff not only about the company but about herself. So that's The Disaster Tourist by Ko-Eun, translated from the Korean by Leslie Butler, out now from Counterpoint Press. Okay, I don't know a lot about this book. This is, I'll hold it up in like this. What Happens at Night by Peter Cameron. I'll hold that up right there. This is out from Catapult Press, so thank you, Catapult. It says, this is the story of an American couple that travels to a strange, snowy European city to adopt a baby, who they hope will resurrect their failing marriage. That never turns out right. Their difficult journey leaves the wife, who is struggling with cancer, desperately weak, and her husband worries her illness will prevent the orphanage from releasing their child. The couple checks into an eerily deserted Grand Imperial Hotel, where the bar is always open and the restaurant serves 13-course dinners from centuries past. Their attempt to claim their baby is both helped and hampered by the people they encounter: an ancient, flamboyant chartreuse, a debauched businessman, a enigmatic faith healer, and a stoic bartender who dispenses an addictive lichen-flavored schnapps. Nothing is as it seems in this mysterious frozen world, and the longer the couple endure the punishing cold, the less they seem to know about their marriage, themselves, and life itself. I'm going to hold this up like this. That is What Happens at Night by Peter Cameron, out now from Catapult Press. I need to get to that one because I think that sounds really, really good. This is The Bright Side Sanctuary for Animals by Becky Mandelbaum. And this is out now from Simon and Schuster. It is, so just after 2016, the election, our main character, I think her name is Ariel, discovers that her mother's animal sanctuary has not only been the target of anti-Semitic hate crimes, it is also for sale due to hidden financial ruin. Ariel, living in a new life in a progressive city of Lawrence and estranged from her mother for 6 long years, knows she has to return to her child home in Kansas. The tense reunion isn't unexpected, but the continued presence of her first love, a ranch hand named Gideon, is. What else do you need by that? And I love anything that's around an animal sanctuary. I would run an animal sanctuary if I could because, you know, I love animals. I would run a pit bull rescue, if we're just being honest. So, okay, guys, I need to wrap this up, but I don't want to leave any of these books out. So this is To the Lake, A Balkan Journey of War and Peace by Kapka Kasabova. I just want to make sure that this one is not in translation as well. Nope, this one is written in English, it appears. So this is the story, actually, of 2 lakes and 2 ancient lakes that are sort of adjoined by these ancient rivers. And this is nonfiction, you guys. So it says, the 2 lakes have played a central role in the author's life, like in her maternal family. So she goes there, I think it's her grandmother's place of origin, and she starts to investigate the historic nature of these 2 lakes in the crossroads there. And she learns a lot about them and what they have and who they are. And then also, you know, she learns about her family as well. So if you like sort of those, how do I say that? Those nonfiction that teach you not only about the world, but also about a person and their family exploration, I recommend To the Lake, A Balkan Journey of War and Peace by Kapka Kasabova. Gosh, you guys, that was a struggle for me. Out from Grey Wolf Press. I love Grey Wolf Press. They're so good. A book I've named in a couple of videos is The Orphan Collector by Ellen Marie Wiseman. This is a historical fiction that takes place during the Spanish flu in Philadelphia around 1918. We have 2 main characters, a young girl whose parents have died and she is taking care of her young twin brothers. She goes out into the world to find a way to support them. And then another woman who loses her child to the Spanish flu, who decides to take in these orphans, and she takes children maybe not with the best of intentions, maybe not with not the darkest sort of ways that she does it, and then how these 2 stories collide. So that's The Orphan Collector by Ellen Marie Wiseman. That came with a bunch of really cute things from the publisher, so yeah. Last but 100% not least, one of the best sort of thriller investigative books that I've read in a long time, and that is Winter Counts by David Heska Wanbley Whedon, and this is out from Echo, and this is so good, you guys. So our main character is Virgil Wounded Horse, I believe. Wounded Horse, yes, Virgil Wounded Horse. Now he is sort of like a hired man on the Indian reservation. He sort of does justice for all of the crimes that go unpunished. So let's say something occurs to your family and the police or the federal government, because on the reservation, those lines are very drawn, you know, very differently, and no one will do anything about it. He is the guy you hire to go and do something about it. But his young nephew sort of, one day, he takes a drug and winds up overdosing. And while he's overdosed, he is then framed, it appears, for selling pills in the high school. And it becomes an investigation into what has been going on here on the reservation. What are the different dynamics? Who's bringing drugs in? We meet all sorts of different characters in regards to sort of this mystery of why his nephew, why this story. And you find out, you know, that people have one face in public, another face in private, and it is a myth. I don't want to give anything away because I'm trying really hard not to tell you how any of the characters are, but I'll say it is a thriller through and through. The characters are fantastic. I can already see the movie in my mind. They're so well formulated. The love that he has for his nephew, really the last member of his extended family to be alive, his complicated relationship with the woman that he was he loved but didn't work out, and now they're sort of working back together. And then just sort of the dynamics and the politics of reservation life in the United States. It's very, very interesting, especially with the case that just went up to the Supreme Court. If you guys have followed that, that sort of law plays in this, and you sort of learn about how it has affected women who are abused by men, children that are abused by men, and all of those, and how the federal government sort of picks and chooses what it investigates, and a lot of very guilty people get away. But Virgil's going to sort of make sure that some sort of reparations happens. So good. Highly recommend. Winter Counts by David Hesekiah Wombley Whedon, out from Echo Books right now. And you know what? If you are a Book of the Month Club guy or gal, that book is one of them. So you can get your hands on it there. So that was a huge stack of books. I hope every single one of them winds up on your TBR. As always, if you're a return subscriber, I thank you so very, very much. If you are new to my channel, thank you. Thank you for coming. I hope you stick around. I hope you pick up a book or 2 or 3 or 4. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally. Until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye.